All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back for Canyon 360 Labs DIY edition. So, this weekend is the DIY try. Super excited to welcome everyone back. We've got a really killer bunch of things to talk about, but your host, Jeremiah Bishop, and we are going to be back in here just getting Dan Emfield, our host, on board. And we also just have been texting back with Jan Ferdino. So it's going to be pretty exciting to have him call in here and have us connect. Jan, of course, is one of the most accomplished athletes in the sport of triathlon. And it's really exciting because he's got a lot to share as far as his endeavors in high level triathlon. And let's see if we can get him in here.
Hello.
Hello. Let's see if we can get you on camera here, Jan.
Trying. It's frustratingly not working.
Okay. Did you click the accept NDI?
No, because I can't find it. There is no.
It's under advanced.
I think on my phone and my laptop isn't doing it. So
yeah, just jump back on after you look at the email, and there's a NDI accepted NDI under advanced, and we'll get you going in just a few minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. I get it. Is that available on mobile though?
Yes, it should be available on mobile. And let's see. There we go. We got you. I see you.
I see him.
All right. Welcome. Technology, baby. There's never a dull moment with technology, but I think it's super cool. We can talk from other parts of the world. I'm on the East Coast, United States. Jan, you're calling in from
Girona, Spain.
Girona, beautiful area. And Dan Emfield's calling in from SoCal. So it's great to have you guys on board today. This is super cool.
Nice to be here.
Yeah. So I think it's pretty exciting to note that we've got a lot of people obviously gearing up for this weekend's Canyon DIY try, where we're encouraging people to get out, stay fit, stay healthy, and stay active. And it's been really fun to watch people as they've gone down the road of training up to this thing and, really getting their try on. And I was thinking when we're talking to you, Jan, it would be kind of fun to just peel back a layer or two, because a lot of people know about your professional triathlon exploits. That's the stuff they can read about easily. But could you take us back, all the way back, like to your first triathlon, and tell us a little bit about what that was like?
My first triathlon was 2 hours outside of Cape Town, a little tiny little village called Caledon, I think. Like nowhere, and literally the only thing that have you? There you go. It's on that famous Four Passes route. If anybody's ever been into Cape Town, it's just on that road. And it was a sprint triathlon in one of the legs. Totally beautiful setting, but think of grandma baking the cakes, and pretty much the only thing that wasn't grassroots is that you didn't get changed from your boot. I had no clue, so I was just in my budgie smugglers. I didn't have a top, which is apparently illegal at the time, because all I'd ever seen was American triathlon magazines, the dudes all running around here, DT, and that was basically how it was. I came from a swimming background, so the swim kind of went well, and then the ride already showed me my first kind of lessons to learn, where somebody rode off the front. And then it was a 5K trail run, and it was just, I don't know, it was instantly hooking, genuinely instantly just something that grabbed me, where I was like, this is so cool. I don't know if it was the atmosphere or if it was just the best blueberry muffins I've ever had, because some grandma brought them along, and it was just like, I forever connect blueberry muffins with my first ever triathlon. a beautiful thing.
That's awesome. That's kind of killing one of our later questions. I was going to ask you some like dumb questions, like what's your favorite food, or but I guess blueberry muffins are pretty highly ranked, huh?
Yeah, it's honestly it's something I'll forever connect, with just that kind of. It just showed me like coming from the swimming world where you sit around a sticky pool and just the air would be super bad by the time the 1500 heat was around. Like everybody had
Yeah.
already left, and you're just swimming for no one except for mom and dad, and
Yeah.
that's cool. Don't get me wrong, I love mom and dad, but
Yeah,
at the same time, it's just the hundreds, when the guys all got to go, and I was never that fast guy. So yeah, triathlon definitely had that spirit that got me hooked instantly.
There's a certain magic to it, I think, and it's very elemental too. And my just minimal amount of training just up to this DIY try, you're on the lake early in the morning, the lights coming in. It's definitely different. It's really a unique sport.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, everybody at the moment is struggling with the infinite mindset, as I call it. We all don't have a timeline. We don't have a deadline, a goal, all that kind of stuff. And really, yeah, events like this just give you something to aim for, something to train for. And at the end, like we all remember when you go to school, when you do your assessments, the night before, that's when you start. And you need a goal, you need a deadline, you need that little bit of pressure to actually get your butt out the door. And I think that's where the value lies in such an event.
Yeah. So, do you have any tips for athletes setting out to do actually their first triathlon type effort tomorrow?
Yeah, be happy you're not doing it with everyone else, because everyone else just goes off the gun. And but the biggest rookie mistake you can make, which is go with everybody, you already can't make. So just be happy, go out there and seriously just realize like how much of a privilege it is. We're in Spain here, we were locked in at home for 10 weeks, and it's a pretty gnarly experience to kind of be under house arrest as such. Every time we went out, we were looking for cops. It's just that odd feeling, when you read it. Literally, it's got something of an arrest to it, and and I think it's just something that you should realize, like freedom, appreciate it, enjoy it, get out there and have a good time.
100%. I love it. I was just talking with Ben King, friend of mine, is World Tour road rider, and in Italy it was the same. It was complete lockdown, and if you left the house, I mean, the police were coming for you. So I think if you can, you should. And I think a lot of the dumb stuff I do on bikes comes down to, I step back and I say, I can do this right now. I'd be a fool not to go. Dan, did you have a couple good questions from the Slow Twitch forum that you'd like to drop in here?
Well, there's a lot of people on our reader forum that had questions for sure. I don't know.
Well, there was the one that you had that was specific.
Well, I noticed this last year in Kona that when a Jan Frodeno comes to town, to a place like Kona, it's not like my generation of professional triathletes coming to town. It's like a professional tennis player or a professional soccer player coming to town. There's a level of excellence and attention to detail and attention to excellence with who you bring with you and how you approach that race. And I've really only seen it with maybe 2 or 3 other triathletes ever, tops worldwide in my history. And I just wonder how you came about that, what was the evolution that led you to this level of professionalism that you ended up with?
Well, when you go through a system like the German Federation system, that's where basically it's a national team where a bunch of people are appointed to try and find the next talent to bring a gold medal or any kind of medal. And you realize there's a system there that's pretty efficient, but that system doesn't actually care about you. It just cares about the next medal that's coming in. Mm-hmm. And the beauty about Ironman racing is that you are actually professional. You're not a high-level kind of high-performance athlete. You actually become professional. And part of the success and part of the journey for me has always been to build a team and to trust in others which, mainly I've got my best friend Felix, who deals with so many things on the side for me that, looks like I'm forever juggling the balls, but actually he's the one juggling most of them, and I just get to take the final shot. The same thing with a physiotherapist. I've got a full-time physiotherapist because I realized after a 70.3 World Championship in Las Vegas that my body couldn't deal with it. I tried a few, and I found that the one that worked for me the best is actually the guy who, he might be a well-trained physio, but he's not the guru everybody would run to, but he's the guy who brings the calmness onto the team. I'm a super tense guy. So finding people that complement what I am or what I am not has been kind of my most, successful part of building a team. And then, kind of getting these people on board and intrinsically motivating them, making them part of the journey, part of the success, is definitely something that I think, I've done well over the years.
We got several questions on our reader forum that I don't know why, but they relate around food. What is your favorite junk food?
Funny that.
When did you learn how to cook? And what is your favorite? All that. So perhaps you could tell me, just selfishly, why it is my readers are asking these questions about you and food and you and cooking, and then anything that you want to say to my readers and everyone else, all the other Canyon and Jan Frodeno fans. Love to hear it.
Yeah, you know what? I've always said a diet is about as individual as your mind. There's people, and the debates that go on about this in the internet, I mean, it's furious out there. People, it's like, you put out vegan. I've been being vegan for a week. Boom! There's like a couple of thousand people attacking in. It's like, oh my God, this is so bad for you. And people get so emotional about this food topic. It's actually become quite funny. And to be honest, I just did my homework and actually tried to find what works best for me. That's all. I literally just went and checked for my body type what works the best. And I believe this is very different for other guys. Dirk Nowitzki, you guys would be familiar with, the NBA player who swears by meat. He's one of those guys. He's like, I need meat, otherwise I don't have the strength, I don't have the power, all this kind of thing. To me, meat doesn't work. I'm fairly slow, I'm sluggish, I need a lot of energy to digest it. Yeah. So, veggies and fish is my kind of magic recipe. I tried going without fish, I tried going without any animal products, didn't have the same effect. And that's literally all I would recommend to anyone out there. Invest the time in your body. You spend the big bucks on the beautiful bikes, on the shoes, on your smart watches, and your training and all this kind of stuff. Don't forget about investing the time in your body. It really is worth it. Give it some time to react, because it's not an instant thing. Like, honestly, you could go to any of your favorite burger chains tonight and still knock out a PB. If Lionel Sanders went and had whatever burger meal the night before his hour record attempt, I don't think that would do any difference to his performance the next day. But it would, in the long run, have an effect if he continues to eat it. And I think my longevity of my career is kind of based on always looking for high quality foods, real foods, and simply being a person who lives to eat. Like, literally, that's the best thing about Ironman. It is the first thing, is you can just pile it in. Like, literally, there cannot be enough food. It's never enough. It's just a thing of common sense that I stop. I always try to cook for leftovers. It never works. And cooking is something that relaxes me, to finally get to that part of the question. I find it's nice to switch off. I love having family around. I love trying to get my kids to try new things, new foods. And it's kind of...
In your house? Are you the chef in your house?
No, that would be a lie. Emma does most of the cooking, but I do try and make, do it as often as possible, simply because I enjoy it. But for me, definitely, food is a big big thing.
Yeah, having a something to detune with and just to get all the other stuff out of your brain, I think so key. What's your favorite dish to make lately?
Um, Lately, I've been quite into the Asian flavors. I've kind of gone from the Mediterranean food. Now that I live in the Mediterranean, it's
Yeah.
kind of always present. What's missing a lot here in Spain is spice.
Mm-hmm.
Spicy food, all these kind of, yeah, kind of Pacific Asian kind of influences,
Mm-hmm.
spices, curries, that kind of stuff. I'm really loving at the moment.
Awesome. I love it.
By the
That's
way, um, since he brought it up, 51.3 kilometers.
Pardon?
what's that?
That's what he rode for his hour. 51.
Oh, got it. So is that
Oh,
a
I don't
Canadian?
know.
Is that a Canadian
Yeah.
record?
He crushed the Canadian record,
Solid.
but his stretch goal was to beat Jens Voigt's ride, and he did.
That's pretty solid.
Wow.
I have to say.
Oh,
Well, not only did he do it, but he did it on an insanely low cadence for the hour record. He was
Hmm.
riding around 87, 88 RPM, something like that.
They probably ordered the wrong gear in the mail.
But yeah, it was a great
mind
piece.
you, though, that's probably like teams like Lionel. I mean, it's not all bad for
Yeah.
aerodynamics. Go a little bit lower on the cadence.
Yeah.
Bam, that's
That's pretty
fast.
solid. Yeah, I was gonna say I didn't think we'd get our results in quite soon enough to talk about that, but that's there's a lot of nuance I thought to riding on the track, and I think him riding that well is a somewhat of a surprise. No ill intent, but when you're doing the banks on the track and you have to keep your line, it's probably a whole other ball game. Well, back to DIY try and this whole sort of like idea of setting up your own course. It kind of reminds me of some of the race simulation courses that I would set up over the years for marathon, World Cup cross country, and that sort of process. Jan, would you say that you have a race simulation course or home check course, and could you tell us about that?
Courses, not so much. I have sessions, certain sessions that I like to do. To be honest, they change around a little bit, and they're fairly unspectacular because if you look at kind of like I don't know Ironman racing, the session you would do probably my last big session I would do probably about 2 weeks out from the race. It does actually vary. Last year, having prepared in Maui was quite different to my preparation in other years, simply because the travel was also much different. You kind of it makes such a difference where you do this kind of thing, and of course that's why the race in Hawaii is so different. So generally, I don't know. I don't really have something like. I don't know. I think Patrick Lange always has the 8x1K, and there are a few guys who have these things that they hold on to give them that kind of mental capacity. Whereas I always believe in evolving between years, and so to me, doing the same thing I did last year wouldn't necessarily make me feel like I evolved.
Yeah,
So
that's a great answer. Yeah.
It
But
does
that's
pop around, but it's generally race specific.
I find that atypical. I find that most top triathletes that I have known have, for lack of a better term, what I call the indicator workout, where it's like when I go and I do this thing and I do it at this pace, I'm ready to race in the Ironman. So I'm fascinated to hear that that's really not a driver for you.
No, I know I'm ready to race an Ironman. That's not the question. I am looking to better what I do, and the honesty, we all know it. The racing is so much up here. I mean, the mental aspect of you needing that session in the bank, and what happens if that session goes slightly off? You carry that energy with you. And to be honest, I generally have something go wrong somewhere along the line, which is always kind of my last test before the actual day. I know the hours add up, and kind of yeah, I definitely need that change and that evolving around.
It's a great answer. Well, I think it might take us back another sort of step again in your development as an athlete. At what point did you realize you were well suited to the physiological and mental demands of Ironman?
Um, Tough question, because it's one of those things that you really, I mean, I look at it very differently. I look at every race and I wonder what I could have done better. I look at kind of the points to improve on, and of course, I was mostly amazed the first time I did Frankfurt Ironman. I had 3 punctures. I got off the bike. I had a cramp, like literally as I put my foot down for the first race, and I was like, why? Like honestly, why? Why would you want to do this again? And I remembered making a mental note of saying like, no,
Yeah.
this is. You thought this is going to be your path. It's not going to be your path. And then it was amazing to see how quickly you can forget that kind of statement to yourself. How quickly your mind is able to just be like, no, that was actually cool. And you know for sure that in the time you're like, no, this is definitely nuts. And I think that was kind of the point where I realized that it's much about the mental game and playing the long game and having the patience, which is something I've never ever had, and maybe that's why I'm so drawn to it.
Yeah. So bad memory and good patience.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
I say the
It's
same
what we all
thing.
have, is
Yeah.
that
I say the same
protective
thing.
instinct.
Yep. Yeah. And it's, it's important to kind of compartmentalize the bad and the painful parts of it, and then you hold on to the good. And I think it allows you to carry it forward and to think positively. But as far as like your ability to react, I think that's one of those things that sort of delves into your specific profile as an athlete. And high level athletes, they have an ability to react on their feet, but they also have a real methodology to their preparation and a internal versus external focus in a lot of ways. Would you describe your focus preparing for Ironman?
Yeah, to be honest, my approach has changed so dramatically over the years, where I used to be, the guy who would just low fat, only eat white rice for weeks, drink sparkling water to fill my stomach up, all that kind of stuff, just to get onto race weight, and just meticulously follow everything and be in bed every minute that I wasn't up and training, kind of thing, just resting. And now I have 2 kids and 2 dogs and pretty normal life when I don't do triathlon. And I think that's definitely of late been my key to it, to be able to switch on when I'm training, and then walk into the door of my house and just completely switch off.
It's kind of nice.
And realize that it's actually pretty useless to be focused all day long and to just be stuck in that hamster wheel all day long. It's definitely something that's counterintuitive to my high performance. I need to have a level of fun. As soon as things get too serious, I don't do well. So that's something I've had to learn the hard way. Pretty serious kind of trainer, I'm not too big on the coffee stops. I'm not too big on, I don't know, or stopping in general, or just, I'm a big fan of getting it done, going out there, switching off afterwards. So I think that's been the big key, to switch on and off.
Yeah, I think you have to be able to do that with the expectations and pressures and all the things that bombard you. And I think the more success you have as an athlete, the less people understand how it creeps into your personal life and becomes kind of like this 24/7 thing. So it's really I think, like you said, it's so nice to actually be able to tune out and just be normal and to kind of do your thing.
Well, you need perspective, and you need perspective in a race too. You need to be able to just, to make that call on your toes and just be like, you know what, I care less. If this goes wrong, think about 2019 when I saw the group was slowly getting apart, and and I saw the guys at the back. Cameron Worth was just dragging everybody slowly up to the front. And then I decided to eventually go simply because, I was like, it's worth it. If it works, it's worth it. But if you're stuck too much in that mentality all the time, I think you're going to be playing it safe, and you're going to be waiting until you're protected all the time. And that's actually the fun, to go for the big shot when it's presented to you rather than playing it safe, knowing well that it can just go perfectly horrible, but also be that much more worth it when it actually connects.
I love it. Sometimes you got to send it. I think it's a fun part about racing and actual events that I miss a lot. Dan, did you have any other questions from the Slow Twitch forum that stood out as either fun or like unique questions?
Well, there was one question that was asked that I'm interested in too, and it's, what are your favorite training places? And we always have a sort of a dual track in our sport that I like. It's not like, I came up as a professional, I came up as a pure runner. And so, if you're a track runner, a track's a track. In triathlon, we have the capacity to roam the earth wherever we, and Jeremiah, this better than anybody. And so, Jan, what about you? Where do you like to go?
To be honest, I don't like to go anywhere anymore. That's why Girona. It's a good spot. To me, it's the greatest spot. We've got everything. We've got the mountains. We've got flat. We've got the med. We've got pools. We've got tracks. We've got, it genuinely is that good, and that's why I've moved here. But speaking of track, one of the tracks that always gives me goosebumps, or has given me goosebumps in the past, was the track in Maui. I thought that's pretty special. It's just a good place to prepare. But genuinely, when you talk about all the camps, that's the one thing you go to, the the Lanzarote's. When you're a European athlete, that's kind of where you tend to roam, the Canary. I'm quite honest. I'm done with it. I'm just enjoying, that balance in between. I don't really want to be going to hotel camps and all this kind of stuff. It's good. I like the old town, kind of get a normal life and then be able to focus on my training again.
It's nice to have a good base for sure. I know what you mean. So we've got another question from Rush Track. He asks, Jan, if Jeremiah does a triathlon, will you do a mountain bike race?
Oh man, I have fallen in love with this mountain biking again. My career sort of started in Stellenbosch, alongside Conrad Stoltz, living in his cleaning room. He shoved the mattress in there, and it was heaven. We were all kind of just aiming for this guy. And ever since, I've really enjoyed the mountain biking, which is spectacular down in Cape Town, or in South Africa. Mainly because the road running is so terrible that everybody's building trails everywhere. So you can. But I've discovered the same here again, and I finally, after a couple of years, got myself back onto a mountain bike and really love the diversity of it. Everything is gravel, grail, and then I got myself sort of this custom in between trail cross country bike. So geometry tended towards cross country, and suspension definitely more towards trail. And it helps my technical, how would I call this, cumbersomeness. my triathlon reactions with fun downhill trails and just really, really enjoying another part of the sport again.
Yeah, it's fun to do something different. Honestly, for me, you have that focus, and for me to do some triathlon training has just been really refreshing. Just something different. And then, I think that was the origin for that question. So what do you think? Cape Epic, Cape Pioneer, Tonquá Trek? What are you going to do?
Oh, and I got invited to the Tortuga Gravel, which is, it's kind of this similar guys. They're also connected to the Cape Epic. and I couldn't do it because my crash, one of my vertebrae is still showing up on scans, so I didn't get the okay. But yeah, it really got me fired up to try and do some stuff. Been riding with some of the local guys here, and they've certainly showed me that my technical skills will need a bit of improvement for any epic, because I'm still, I go 180 heart rate up to the top, and then I go 195 on the descent. And you can do that for a couple of hours, but the rest eventually should just be there, and it's not there for me yet. It's a little bit tense, quick enough, but a little bit tense on the descent.
Yeah, definitely. Cape Epic's kind of evolved too. It's become more technical with bike park features and yeah, for sure. It's a good challenge though. It's all about having fun with it, and I think as people sort of rev up for this event this weekend, we'll kind of keep the momentum and keep some pressure on Jan to do a mountain bike race, since I'm going to go and embarrass myself tomorrow.
Yeah, don't embarrass. It's honestly, I think it's all about it. Sebi and Ben Hoffman, they did the Cape Epic. I think it cost them quite dearly for a few months, simply because they were doing severely undercooked or sick as well, which is always, that's another topic altogether.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? I think they had a good time, and in the end, we all forget that it becomes so much of a continuum that it's just important to actually go out and enjoy it in order to kick some real butt.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, the real season comes, a bit later. So I think it's, nice to just sort of change gears a little bit. So those were most of the questions. I have some really other, silly questions, but any other great questions you have for Dan? We're going to let Jan go here in a bit, but Dan, do you have any other remaining questions?
Our audience are family people, and they wanted to know about your family and specifically your kids. And are your kids going to grow up to be triathletes, or what do you and Emma have to say about any of that? I mean, obviously private question, but our folks have kids too, and they're interested to know.
Yeah, totally. I mean, funny enough, Emma's actually away on a gravel trip with the girls. They've got this group of 5 girls, and they've gone away overnight and gone on a gravel trip. So I've got the kids waiting upstairs, which is why I was initially tied up a little bit. They've just turned on the stereo, I can hear. You know what? It's the hardest thing about being confined at home is I've got this beautiful disc brake bike sitting there for Luca, who's my oldest son. He's 4. Sienna, my daughter, she's 2. And our house is kind of built on a hill, so it was super tough to practice with him. And I had all this time on my hand for my kids, but I couldn't practice bike riding with him. So that's definitely something that I've enjoyed a lot. I do somehow hope that they don't turn out to be triathletes, simply because the pressure of having Emma Snowshall and myself as parents, I think it would suck, because I think one of the most beautiful things of the journey I got to experience about triathlon is to be free, to discover yourself, to make your own mistakes, and for people to really count you as a rookie. Those times when you're a rookie are just, it's a beautiful part of a career, and I wish that they will have it. They're definitely super energetic, outdoorsy kind of kids, and enjoy showing them this world. To be honest, they don't particularly like seeing me race either, because sometimes after the cameras and everything, that you just go into a bit of a dark place from exhaustion, and they pick that up like this. I mean, kids are so smart, emotional intelligence is super high. But we've got a garage full of bikes. They've got plenty of them are theirs. They love swimming. They always want to go in running shoes to school. The possibilities are there. I tried mounting a basketball hoop just to see, economically it would be a lot better for their financial statements in the beginning. But they're definitely endurance and outdoor sport prone.
Yeah, maybe surfing or something else.
Yeah, we actually take them supping a little bit.
Oh, cool.
Because the Costa Brava where we live,
Yeah.
you can go to all these kinds of caves and
Wow.
kind of inaccessible beaches, and we
Yeah.
put them on the sups in the front,
Oh,
and
nice.
we have races, and yeah,
Awesome.
try and live an active life.
Yeah,
It's so nice to be able to take your kids and show them more than video games and whatever. It's definitely something that I want to continue to pursue to get the kids into sport.
yeah.
Can I ask you one more question? And this has come up on our forum as well. Now that you've had a full expression, understanding, immersement in three endurance sports. If you had to start all over, and pick one, and it was on the basis of your talent, what are you? What are you genetically and in your brain and in your talent and in your out? What would you have been the best at?
I'm not a particularly talented swimmer. My technique is not outstanding. My pedigree for speed wasn't there. Endurance, I never quite managed to connect. I definitely don't push impressive numbers on a bicycle. I mean, you look at what the guys are doing, Zwift racing, when you're just looking at the pure numbers of what's out there. I'm not one of those guys who really manages to push it out. And running, I started late, but I started with 1K reps at school. I never had that formal education. And again, it's something where I think I lack the pure pedigree of a runner. But in the end, I think I really, really want, and that was with my recipe for success. So to focus on one of the, I don't think would have seen me have quite the success. I certainly, I tried in swimming, wasn't there.
So you really are a triathlon.
He's an Ironman. That's what he is. We're trying to figure it out, but it's quite right there.
Where's Mike Riley? He says it's so much better than you, man. I want Mike to be so much better than you.
Well, thanks so much for jumping on board, Jan. I think we're coming up to bottom of our hour here, and we want to talk a little bit about making sure that everybody who's out there still has a chance to register for the Canyon DIY Try link. The link is in the video description if you want to sign up. U.S. riders or triathletes are able to win a Canyon Speedmax 7.0. Super cool. And for our global audience, you're still eligible to win some prizes as well from Amp Human, Split Nutrition, and Training Peaks. And is there anything else you'd like to say, Jan?
Good luck out there. Enjoy it. Have a damn good time, and keep the triathlon spirit high, because I cannot wait to see you guys at a start line next year. Bring on 2021.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be awesome. So again, thanks so much, Jan, for coming on board. And tune in. Use the hashtag Canyon DIY Try on social for a chance to win some swag. I want to see you guys out there sweating. I want to see you out there with some suffer faces on, and posting pictures of your shenanigans. I don't care if it's on the stand-up paddleboard. If your knee hurts, get on a damn skateboard. Just make it happen. Have fun. And stay tuned for next week, as we'll have our DIY Try Awards. So we'll have Tri Taryn on board to kind of go over some of the social media highlights, lowlights, whatever. And then also we're going to share some social media posts. So we're actually going to share this on the screen. It's going to be super fun. And stay tuned. We're going to extend 360 Labs in through November. We've got some really exciting news coming up. And we also have some great additional guests coming on board as we kind of sort of continue our broadcast series. So thanks again for coming on board. It's been awesome to have you guys, and look forward to seeing some pictures of Jan riding his mountain bike. And Jan, keep tuned in for some pictures of me doing really odd things this weekend. All right, guys.
Boys, have a great time. Enjoy it. Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much.
All the best.
All right.
You guys.
Ciao.
All right, bye-bye.